Proverbs 31:30 teaches me that charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Unfortunately, my mother taught me that beauty was meant for gain, charm was a tool to manipulate, and a woman who fears the world will be safe. From the age of 5, my mom controlled my family using emotion, sex, and abuse. She even found it amusing to bring me into her porn addiction. At age 7, my neighbors who knew of my mom's fetish had me act out the things we saw in those films. When I talked of these times I got beat, and when I wasn't being beat or left behind in rage, I was cleaning up the mess of my mother's suicide attempts that she would blame on me. She died when I was 9 years old, and I was left with a poor idea of womanhood. About a year later, I attended a Christian concert and became aware of how desperately I needed a Savior. So I invited Jesus into my heart. I truly believe that is why I am still here today. Unfortunately, without any structure in my life, I still spent years with the belief that less clothes meant beauty, physical affection meant love, and drugs, running, and self-injury was my solution. After having to switch high schools due to my behaviors and dealing with recently finding my boyfriend dead, I began to lose myself in my new job at Hooters, where my mother's lies were reaffirmed. After graduating high school early, my Hooters roommates introduced me to prostitution. I used it to help support their kids and my new crystal meth addiction. Some days I would lay there crying, and the guys did whatever they wanted to me anyways. My pimp found me a way out. He sent me to California to pursue performing in the very movies my mom used to show me. I gained a false sense of pride, security, and control. I was told I was a star. Never mind that I was in and out of urgent care from physical damage, and I was shaking from all the drugs and drinking. I began to pray to my Savior, please let me know when this is over. I don't want to be stuck here forever. One day on set, I was heartbreakingly aware that I still had not known what it was like to go on a date. And at that moment, I wanted more than anything to be clothed. My prayer was answered, but what now? I told the company I was under contract with that I was done filming, and they allowed me to work at the office as I finished school. One day at the office, I became aware of the damage that porn was doing in the world. A fan of mine took his family's savings to drive from Georgia to California to get my autograph. Upon his return home, his wife asked him to shut down all of my websites, and he found it easier to shoot himself, leaving a grieving family behind. His obituary showed me that these movies were destroying marriages everywhere. I needed to get out of this environment altogether. I left the adult entertainment industry March of 2010. Little did I know it would continue to haunt me. For instance, my father whom I recently met, discovered it was a bad idea to serve porn ads at work because there was his little girl staring right back at him. Needless to say, he won't be feeding his curiosity any longer. My solution was to drown myself in my new business, church, and recovery. The problem was, the better my life looked on the outside, the worse I felt on the inside. Thankfully, I have a God who never stopped pursuing me. The church plant team I was working with decided to pull my covers. They told me as much as they loved my heart for service, it was time for me to heal. After spending years running away from things, for the first time in my life, I felt I was about to run towards something. They sent me to the city they just moved from to attend the Refuge for Women. My leaders here are helping me to break down the layers of identities I was taught to live up to. I am learning how to walk proudly in my true identity, which is in Jesus Christ. I am surrounded by examples of godly love and truth, the very thing I had needed to accompany my salvation. The truth is, I am somebody's daughter, and I was the whole time I was on display. The world broke me down, but what it left me with is my story, and I will continue to use it to bring the spotlight back to God. I no longer live in fear because today I clothe myself with dignity and strength.